Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, we got ourselves a bit of a fun conversation today, and that is actually going to be the player friendliness of Kuro Games, Wuthering Waves version 2.8, and of course, one of the newest characters that's going to be arriving in just a few weeks, Buling. Yes, the new 4-star unit, ladies and gentlemen. We're in a year drought since the last one, and it's time to talk about the situation. Because one thing that a lot of individuals have complained about, right? I think it's almost infinite, the number of complaints that we've seen, is the fact that Buling, the newest 4-star unit, is only going to be available on the second half of the version, and only on the second half version banners. Yes, you won't be able to get her if you pull for Chisa. You'll only be able to get her if you pull for Phrolova, or of course, Cantarella. And this is an issue that a lot of individuals have been raising some havoc on social media about. That's a good one. You can send the PayPal donation to me later for that one. There's been a lot of people raising a lot of issues regarding this matter, saying that it's super player unfriendly, that this is a move that the Genshin Impact developers would do, that this is Kuro Games just trying to extract as much value as possible from the players, when in reality, this lineup is literally one of the most player-friendly things that this company could have fucking done. And do you want to know why? Do you want to know why I'm saying that Buling being on the second half is player-friendly? It's because this unit is a piece of shit. I'm just going to be honest with you. The meta relevance and the meta strength of this unit is one of the lowest that I've ever seen for a character on release. She is good on one team in the game, and she is about 5% better than the free-to-play option that every person gets. So she's good on one team in the game and is 5% better than the full free-to-play option. And on every other team in the game, she is a downgrade. She is worse than your existing options. She is worse than Verena. She is worse than Shorekeeper. And frankly, I might be out of line for saying this, I actually think she might be fucking worse than Baija. I'm not even joking. I think she might be worse than Baija on the average team. And that's kind of a wild thing for a limited character. She's good on one team, Arrow Erosion. She specializes in negative statuses, but she sucks on 2 out of the 3 negative status teams. Yes, she's not really that good at all. Gets outperformed by more budget options when it comes to anything Spectral Frazzle. This banner and this unit, Chisa, I think she is the worst possible pull any player can currently make at this point in time. There are individuals saying, Saint, she specializes in negative statuses. She will be the next Shorekeeper. I've had videos where I say she's going to be the next Shorekeeper. That is in a few months from now. She'll rerun eventually. And the idea is that currently she supports almost nothing. And so pulling her is you literally throwing pulls into a fucking abyss and then hoping that she'll become much stronger later, when you can just pull her when she's actually strong and has more than one team in the fucking game, and then her improvement on that one team is more than 5% over the free-to-play option. She's one of the most useless pulls on release that I've ever seen in the history of the game. The only release that I think is slightly comparable to her in terms of uselessness on release is Chakona. But guess what you knew when you were pulling Chakona? You had already gotten the drip marketing that Kartithia was going to be out the next version, and you already knew that Kartithia was going to use Arrow Erosion from all the context clues in the game. So you knew you had a solution out there while Chakona's banner was live. For this unit, we don't know shit about the 3.0 characters. We don't know shit about what the best units are going to be. We don't know shit about whether or not 3.0 will even have negative statuses. You're hinging on nothing. And so what that means is that this is the most skippable banner in the history of the game. You wouldn't want Buling to be on this banner, because then you're pulling a unit that you can't use on any teams, versus the literal best DPS in the game and the best support sub-DPS for one of the best DPSs in the game. And I consider Phrolova to be the best overall DPS because she's got a blend of free-to-play teams, Giga Premium teams, an amazing assortment of teammates. She's got Havoc Rover, she's got Dan Jin, she's got Rosia, she's got Cantarella, she's also got fucking Chu Yan, and she can work with Shorekeeper too. This unit has so many, like, fucking partners on the roster and performs well in a lot of them, she is, like, 30 times more valuable for your account than a fucking Chisa. Pulling a Phrolova, if you had the option of choosing between Phrolova or Chisa, 99 times out of 10 in the current state of the game, where Buling is being released, you will want Phrolova. This unit over here, the Chisa, she might actually be the most useless unit in the game currently. I think 99% of people, they will have a worse account pulling this unit than they would have if they had just skipped her. Most of you guys will be better off meta-wise. You'll have better results in, like, endgame and stuff like that, avoiding this unit. So why are we bitching and moaning so much about the fact that the new 4-star character is on a better characters banner? Why are people complaining about the fact that Buling isn't on the worst banner in the game? Or sorry, isn't on banner with the worst 5-star character in the game? I don't really know. And the thing is, Kuro is doing you a favor with this one by putting the new 4-star on a character that's miles better than what's currently in the first half. And the great part about it is, even if you have Phrolova, you can pull Cantarella. And this is the one situation where it doesn't work out. You have both Phrolova and Cantarella, and you really want Buling. Then I guess you can go until you build up a little bit of pity, pray that you lose a 50-50, or do whatever, but maybe you won't get her. But this is also the situation. If you have Phrolova and Cantarella, then maybe you just buy her with your fucking corals. Because yes, Buling will also just be available in the coral shop. And this is also the other situation. Some people might say, "Oh, Saint, I'm trying to get the character S6. I can only get one copy from the coral shop, and so it's actually useless that you're telling me to pull from there." Well, guess what? If you're trying to get an S6 4-star, then you might as well get ready to pull S2 or S3 of a character, because there is no fucking way, unless you are God's luckiest soldier, that you are S6ing a unit within 80, that you are S6ing a 4-star unit within 80 pulls. So it's kind of like a defeatist argument anyways. If you're complaining about the fact that the 4-star character is on a banner, you're only trying to get one copy of them. Because if you're trying to get multiple copies, then you gotta pull dupes on their debut banner. There's no other way to S6 a 4-star on their debut other than to pull dupes of a 5-star. And if you don't want to pull dupes of a 5-star, you buy them from the coral shop. But if you want to S6 the unit so the coral shop isn't good, then you gotta get ready to pull dupes of a fucking 5-star. That's kind of just it. So there's not even a problem anyways. And you could say the same thing about if Buling was on Chisa's banner too. You would need to pull multiple copies of Chisa or Phoebe to S6 Buling if she was on this banner. So the argument falls apart anyways. In both directions. This has to be one of the most ridiculous things that I've seen Doom posted in a game before. Because the value of where a 4-star is located and the player friendliness of where a 4-star is located is based off of how actually good the character is. This is basically like having Shorekeeper on the second banner and then Buling was on Shorekeeper's banner. Are you going to say it's player unfriendly when it's fucking Shorekeeper?
I already have Shorekeeper, and so this is actually the worst thing ever.
Let's just be honest, guys. This is one of the best things that Buling enjoyers could have wanted. Because there's no fucking universe where you're going to tell me that pulling Chisa to get Buling is a better option than pulling Phrolova or Cantarella. Because this is, without a doubt, the worst 5-star character release meta-wise that we've had in over a year. This character replaces nobody at all on their release. And you should be happy that you're not forced into pulling her to do whatever it is that you want to do. Be happy about that. Be blessed. Kuro's done you a favor with this one, and don't let anybody convince you otherwise. You avoided the scam with this lineup. That'll be it for this one, ladies and gentlemen. I know it's a bit of an issue that we're late to respond on, but I do think it's genuinely something that a lot of people have just been echoing across the community without thinking at all about what they're even saying. it kind of leads me to believe that a lot of the backlash, the feedback that people were given, I think it's just severely Astro-turfed. I would have to imagine. We are going to have a lot of Hoyo shills in the community and then you can just tell by what's always going on when it comes to discourse regarding these games, that are going to see Wuwa do anything that could be considered similar to Genshin, and then jump on that as an opportunity to shit on Wuthering Waves. We've seen it once. We're going to see it again. We're going to see it all the time, right? And the reality is that you got to look into the finer details. You got to get an actual breakdown of the situation. You got to get the actual information, because this is probably the best thing that Buling could have been released in. And having her on Chisa's banner would have been one of the worst things for 99% of players. And hopefully you can see all the reasons for why the argument that I'm presenting makes way more sense than the nonsense that everyone else was engaging in before. That'll be it for this one, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know what you all thought. Peace out.